Hello, welcome back to Painting with Jasmine Rempel Art. Today is really the second part of a tutorial. The tutorial called Bunches of Blessings was the first one, and in that one I showed the technique for creating these bunches of flowers. It was wet on wet with some salt sprinkled on top, and then I added some containers and shadows. So today I'm going to add some extra detail for those of you that are interested in doing so. I'll show you a quick example of what some extra detail might be. Here I have put some extra flowers in the bunches and have added some centers to some of my flowers. So to do that, I actually used some Staedler watercolor markers. I have here a blue and a purple, and I'm just going to show you the technique that I have been using to add some extra flowers here and there. I have some watercolors ready. These are the colors that I used in this painting, and they're here just in case I need them. I have permanent rose. This is Prussian blue and ultramarine. This is a deep purple, Windsor yellow, sap green, and viridian green. I have some brushes available. I have a rigger brush. I have two round brushes. These are both Prussian. One is a number 1 Velvet Touch, and this is a number 6 Heritage. All right, I have some water, of course, and I have some paper towel. All right, so this process of adding a few extra flowers is more intuitive than anything else, and I try to keep it light and loose. I'm not defining the entire bunches of flowers with many extra flowers. I'm letting some just be impressions of flowers, and then I'm adding extras, kind of a lost and found effect. I like the spontaneity of this. Okay, so on the Staedler brush, I have two tips. One is a bit thicker than the other, and so I'm using the thicker tip. And what I tend to do is I'll just go into an area and create a little round portion, and then I have my number 1 brush, and it's wet with water, and I'll just go around that and pull out to create a nice wet flower shape. I don't want to pull out. I'm just going to zoom you in a bit. Oh, too far. Let's try again. That's better. I don't want to pull it out so that it's a perfect donut. I have some edges that are a little bit jagged. And then I'll come up beside it and just do half a flower there. And with a wet brush, just go around what I made. And so I have 2 towards the bottom, might bring one in over here. Again, when I do this, I don't have a particular idea in mind about where I want these to be. I just kind of play and try to go with the process. And that is the way I discovered creating bunches of blessings. The technique, I just was new to watercolor paints. Well, to be honest, I started with watercolors when I was a teenager. I had a lesson or two, but in my painting journey, I moved towards acrylics, and I've only recently rediscovered watercolor, basically in the last year and a half. And I was playing around with them, with wet and wet, and I kind of ended up discovering that, oh, I can make beautiful bunches of flowers in a rather simple and fun way. And when I started doing it, I was just kind of stressed because I was having a tough school year. And it was so nice to be able to create something without putting much forethought into it or worrying necessarily about the outcome, just enjoying the way that watercolors move and being more intuitive. And so watercolors, in a sense, became healing for me in a stressful year. There's, for me, with the wet on wet technique and throwing in salt, there's sort of this letting go to watercolor. You just can't control things. And yet I found that when I did let go, just something beautiful would happen. And so honestly, a little bit like a life lesson. And I've been doing watercolor ever since, and acrylic painting's kind of on the back burner. I was thinking this summer that I want to get back into creating some acrylic canvases. Okay, you can see that I'm just playing around here, dotting in some color and then pulling it out a bit with a wet brush. And creating a few extra flowers. So I think I will move on to the blue now so that you can see. Oops, I did one here and you can't even see it on the edge. I'm going to close this purple for a little while, but before I do, I feel like I need just a couple near the top here, just to balance it out. So I am working on a Strathmore cold pressed 140 pound, I think it is, watercolor card. Yes, it is. And that's what this is going to become. It's a card for somebody. I actually sell these in a local art cafe, and people like them. People like blessings, flowers, brightness, color. So I am happy when I create this to know that someone somewhere is really going to enjoy them. You know, in some ways I could just keep going and going and going with no end and fill in the whole thing. But I'm going to get the blue out here, add some blue, and then I'm going to go on to time lapse to finish off, because you can see the technique here. Here's some purple flowers. And let's get the blue out. I'm just looking to see where I want one placed. But right over here. Again, dipping into the water, adding some water to that. It is currently winter, but I am making flowers. What is kind of neat is that my, well, in my neighborhood, so many people end up with these beautiful containers of flowers sitting in an area, in their front, in their kind of their front patio, and they spill over, full of color. And whenever I do these, I tend to think of that. I tend to think of summertime or springtime. And in the middle of winter, even though we're not having a very cold winter this year, in the middle of the winter, it's so nice to think about warmth and color. And I want these cards ready for the spring market, which will be within the store that the little art cafe that I sell them in. And there'll be a market for these as the weather warms up. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is put this on time lapse. Okay, so I've added lots of extra flowers. Up in this area, there's not as many. I can see some areas that maybe look a little empty, but I'm going to stop there for now and begin to add some other details. Okay, you can probably see that I've put a couple on the ground here, and so I'm going to go into my sap green with my #1 brush, and I'm just going to pop in a little leaf shape there, and maybe another. Good. And I'm also going to use this sap green, and I'm just going to add the odd line very gently to some of the leaf shapes. I'm not sure, hopefully you can see that. And now the flowers they're white inside, and so I think I'm going to use this nice yellow and dilute it a little bit and just pop that inside these flowers. I'll zoom in again for you. Okay. and the purple ones. Inside the purple, I guess I could do yellow as well. I think what I actually had here was a lemon yellow. So I'm grabbing some lemon yellow and mixing it in with this cadmium yellow. And I will pop that into some of these flowers here. The purple ones. Good. And then I've got this yellow again, and I'm actually going to add the tiniest amount of purple to it just to dilute it a little bit. Not dilute, sorry, just to dull the hue a little. And then I'm going to put a few dots. I'm imagining that these areas are these nice yellow flowers here, and these little yellow areas, I'm not going to define them, but I'm going to add some centers as though, so that they look a little more like they're possibly some flowers. Okay. And I don't want to forget down here. Take that diluted, it's in the shadow. There we go. Zoom out. I feel like I want to add, I'm actually just using my deep purple here. Just want to add a few more flower shapes here and there using that deep purple instead of the marker. And the blue, try that out. It'll be lighter because this is it's a diluted color, and I want to connect it to this sponge. Okay, I think that's good. Sometimes I will, actually there is something I'm going to do. I'm going to mix a little bit of blue and purple. And I'm going to go under this leaf here, add that in, clean my brush and pull it down just to add a couple more shadows. Clean my brush, soften the edge. Do that right here, right here. Soften the edge with a wet brush. Here. This is definitely not a highly realistic painting, nor am I going for that, but a few extra touches is nice. Okay, sometimes I will also splatter paint, and I think I will make a very diluted purple, and people really don't like splatter painting from what I read. When I look at the watercolor groups I'm part of, a splatter painter. I like it. Just kind of adds to that spontaneity I'm aiming for. I feel anyway. Some people maybe feel that it's wrecks the piece, but I haven't had too many people complain about it. Okay, so I've done some splatters. Zoom you in. They're going to dry lighter than they are. So right now they look kind of dark, but they will dry. And I've got some blue on my brush. I'll take some purple, a little bit of the yellow. I know I didn't clean my brush first when I did that. Bit of a rule breaker here. Okay, there's JR. There's my signature. And I'm going to peel this. And let's have a peek. It's fun. It's bright. I feel like it would be neat to have a couple of little bees buzzing around. For now, that's that. Now, here are two other ones I'm going to be doing. And I'll be adding just a few more touches as I did this one and now this one. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you learned something. I hope you try this out. And if you do, please, please, please share with me what you've tried. I find it so encouraging seeing works that people do that I've been able to inspire. That's how I learned to paint. Watching YouTube tutorials. You can find me on Facebook under Jasmine Rempel. I don't have a specific art Facebook, but if you want to send me a message there, I can get it. I'm also on Instagram under Jasmine Rempel Art. Happy creating. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. All the best. Bye for now.